What's up you guys, it's Katie. About 3 years ago now, I made a video on this channel which to this day is still one of my favorite videos I've ever made because even though it wasn't the most profound thing ever, it was so personal to me and something I was so passionate about, I just really enjoyed making it. In this video, I talked about Christian romance novels and my experience with these novels and basically wanted to share with you guys why I thought they were not good books and why you should just not waste your time reading them. Now, many of you may not have seen this video and therefore might not know that I was completely obsessed with these books when I was like 13, 14 years old, like full on obsessed. Roll the clip. And when I said that I read a lot of these things growing up, like, let me just show you, okay? Oops. Okay. Oh gosh. Let's count these, shall we? 1, 2, 3. Romance novels. And full disclosure here, I know I was stupid and I made a bad decision on Saturday, which then sparked this whole video because I need to rant again now. And I know many of you are gonna ask, Katie, why were you silly? Why did you make this decision? And honestly, I didn't have an answer at first. I was like, I don't even know if I can make this video. It's kind of embarrassing to make a whole video about not reading them and then make another video 3 years later saying, guys, I read them again. But the proverb doth tell us, as a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool shall return to his folly. I am the dog, and you can guess what is the vomit. So here's how this started. The government owns my husband and made him work on Saturday. So instead of being home alone all day on Saturday and just watching Netflix, I thought, you know what? No. I want to do something with my Saturday instead of just sitting in front of a screen. It all started from good intentions. All things like this always start from good intentions. And I decided that instead of wasting my time watching Netflix, I was gonna make myself a cup of tea, read a book, and just have a nice afternoon by myself. Here's the thing, David and I don't really have a lot of fiction books in this house, so my option was really to use my Kindle on my iPad. Now, what I failed to mention in the first video was that not only did I own 111 hard copy covers of these kind of books, but I also have probably like 30 or 40 more on my Kindle, which I now have access to thanks to the cloud. So when I went onto my Kindle app, I saw 30 titles of all these Christian romance novels I used to read, and I was intrigued, okay? I was curious. So I downloaded one of them and began to read it just to see if everything I remembered was correct. And oh my friends, I was correct. Buckle up everybody, because I got 5 more points I need to rant about these books in order to restore my mental health. And we're just gonna hop right into it today, folks. Point number 1, over-sexualizing things that are not sexual. Because 95% of the books in this genre are set between like 1750 and 1920, it's not uncommon to find that the author will point out weird, obscure things to be alluring that really don't make any sense because modesty was just so different then than it is now. I've read many books where things like a girl's ankle, a girl's collarbone, a girl's neck, a girl's ear, a girl's hair, a girl's slim wrists, all of these features have been the start of like a guy going crazy and being so attracted to a girl. I mean, whew. The wind got caught of her dress and he got a glimpse of that nice pale ankle and just, is it getting steamy in here or what? I love too how because these are Christian books and the authors really want to make sure they keep it PG, they never really talk about the typical things that, you know, you notice when you're attracted to someone of the opposite gender. Well, actually, that's not true. They just don't talk about the features on a girl. They talk about guys' muscles and things all the time. But you will never find them say anywhere that she had like nice boobs, because that's inappropriate. Which I do think. I don't really want to read romance novels where the guys are fantasizing about some girl's boobs. That's not what I'm asking for here. But the problem is when you have to go the reverse sense, you have to create attraction, but you don't want to mention that like he thinks she has a nice chest. You then have to create like passion and like sparks and stuff out of things that aren't normally sexual so people don't get offended, but then you just over-sexualize things that are not meant to be sexual. There was one book I read where I swear the guy was like obsessed with her ears or something, and now looking back, that's weird, okay? Don't over-sexualize something that's not sexual, it's weird. Point 2 leading off of that, which isn't really more a point about these books, but more just an embarrassing confession about my own behavior because of these books. I took the words in these books as gospel, which is so embarrassing, but they always talk about how guys lose their minds when they see a girl with her hair down because it's like so intimate or something like that. And so I used to think, oh my gosh, I should wear my hair down and that will get my crush's attention because he'll go crazy over my long flowing hair and want to run his fingers through it or something. It's It's so weird. Looking back on it, I have regrets. Point 3 is about the unrealistic first kisses. And I will say that I'm sure there are some people out there where their first kiss is similar to the ones described in these kinds of books. But basically, it's always something along the lines of they finally have all this tension and then they kiss. His lips were coaxing, insistent, but patient. It goes on for like a page. It's like 2 pages of just describing like his mouth and her mouth. And it's just a lot. It's just a lot, you know? Granted, my first kiss was amazing and it wasn't awkward, but it definitely wasn't like these books describe, because it basically describes like a girl feeling buzzing in her toes all the way up to her top of her head, and then she feels like swept down a river of emotions, and then she deepens the kiss, and then he's like, whoa, wow. It's such a huge thing, and I get it. Again, I'm glad that these books, you know, I think they overdo the kisses because they don't want to talk about sex, which I really appreciate, because I don't want to read romance novels about sex. I really don't. But then it also, you have to like understand that these kisses are not realistic. Kissing is great. I will say, as a married woman, I love kissing my husband. However, when my expectation was like that was what kissing was gonna be like, I mean, it takes a while for you to understand each other. And I hope this isn't awkward for some people, but like, I'm just being honest, okay? Kissing is kind of weird. Like, you're literally putting your face against someone else's face. Okay, like, things can go wrong when you don't know what you're doing. Point 4, which in my opinion is one of the most important ones to understand, is that these books are written by women for women, and we cannot hold men in our lives up to like the standard of men in these books. David and I watched a video series for our premarital counseling, and this guy said something that was so true in one of these videos, which is that if you ask a woman to describe her perfect man, she will describe a woman. On Saturday, when I was reading these books again with a more mature mind and outlook on life now as a married woman compared to when I was 13 and didn't really know that much about love and relationships, I can see now how the guys in these books are so not guys. It's not a bad thing, okay? Like, the women authors are writing the men, processing things in the books as women would, because the author's a woman, and that all makes sense, and that's fine. But the problem is that we then think men in our lives need to live up to the standards of these guys in these novels, but the guys in these novels are not actual men. They're a woman's projection of what she wants a man to do, and that's very different than a real man. I actually have a paragraph I want to read you guys from one of these books that I was reading on Saturday, because when I read this paragraph, I just thought to myself, I actually stopped and I was like, this is the most feminine written paragraph about a guy that I've ever read in my life ever. Trevor was different, austere and reserved. She wondered what it would be like to peek beneath that shell. Trevor wasn't emotionless. Oh no, she'd caught glimpses of a mighty passion simmering beneath the surface, but he always held it so tightly locked down, restrained. What would it be like to tear away his stern outer layer and see that smoldering emotion unleashed? I am not trying to make fun of the woman who wrote this book. I just thought it was funny because, to me, as a woman, I can identify with that paragraph and be like, oh yeah, I want to see all your emotions and stuff, because that's how women think. And I'm not saying that there are not kind, emotional, sweet guys out there as are described in these kind of books. I'm just saying they don't necessarily think and process things the way that these books might have you think they do, and that's just important to know. And point 5, which is the last point for today's rant, and I kind of touched on this in my last video, which is just that if you even just read the backs of these books, they're all pretty sexist. Like, I don't understand if they're sexist against women or if they're sexist against men sometimes. It's very confusing. Hi. So that was the point I was going to try to make with this last little bit, but see if you can see the exact moment where my brain skips a track and makes the point that all these books are the same instead, and just kind of leaves the whole sexist thing without an argument. Just reading, like, you know, the 2-paragraph description of what the book is, it's either always presenting one in a negative light, because in order for there to be like discord and for sparks to fly, because sparks always have to fly. That's literally the most used phrase on the backs of these books. They met and sparks fly, and will they get over their differences and blah blah blah. Like, yeah, they're going to. They're gonna get married because they always get married, okay? You don't need to pretend they're not going to. But literally the back of every single book is basically the same. If you just go to your church or any Christian bookstore and you read the back of some of these books, you will laugh at how similar everything is. Actually, you know what I could do right now is just airball the back of a book description for all these Christian romance novels that the publishing house could just put on every single thing, and it would probably work for 90% of the books. When this dude rode into a small town in Texas on a warm day, his muscles rippling in the sunlight, he met this strong, independent girl who didn't need no man. and sparks immediately began to fly. But will they get over their differences? You bet they will. And then they will solve the mystery in this book that the author has concocted for this novel. And after that, they will have a very unrealistic first kiss, and everything will be going great until she learns about something in his past that she can't get over. But then about 2 chapters later, the Lord will convict her, and she will forgive him, and they will get married, living happily ever after. And the epilogue is him just rubbing the growing belly of his wife, talking to their unborn child, and they lived happily ever after. The end. There you go, Bethanio. Slap that on all your books. Well, folks, thank you so much for watching this video and sticking with me this far. Your watch time really helps me. It's great. I appreciate you. Leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna leave my social media here as always, and you guys can go follow me over there if you would like. My Instagram's been weird lately. It hasn't been showing my posts to like the majority of you guys. I don't know why. I don't know what the new algorithm is doing, but if you want to make sure you don't miss my posts, be sure to turn my notifications on. Or don't. You don't have to. It's completely your choice. So leave all your thoughts in the comments below, and until the next time I see you guys, have a great life. Don't read Christian romance novels, and don't be stupid or make bad decisions. Bye!